So since today is my birthday, I thought I would be having a nice peaceful day, stress-free, school doesn't start for another week. I could play some games, maybe read a few books, some comic books, I don't know, that sort of thing. But I actually thought about, looking up the War Z because I heard the game had a lot of controversy, but I really didn't read up on it. It seemed like a very complicated issue, and school was going on at the time, so I really couldn't pay that much attention to it. After reading extensively about the controversy that happened and actually seeing these people that defend the game, I have to question just how stupid are gamers these days. Alright, for those of you who don't know about the War Z, alright, the War Z is an open world survival game where you are this lone survivor among many other players in this persistent world, and you have to basically go around collecting food, water, supplies, ammo, guns, and other weapons to survive in this whole zombie apocalypse open world. It was structured similar to DayZ. However, I, like a lot of people, was very excited to see the DayZ. For obvious reasons. It was the zombie game I've waited my whole life to play. And when I heard it was an Arma mod, I immediately said, no, I'm not going to get this, because Arma 2 is an extremely poorly optimized and poorly programmed game. It's easily one of the buggiest ones I've ever played in my life. It's a mess, and then playing an alpha mod on top of an already broken game just seemed like a disaster to me. Plus, the game is a major resource hog, and yet the graphics look like shit. I'm not gonna lie. But then two announcements happened. One, the creator of DayZ, he said that there is going to be a standalone DayZ game. It's going to use a new engine. It's going to be built up for the sole purpose of DayZ, and then the War Z was announced. That was going to be like this full DayZ experience for sort of the free-to-play crowd. That's what I got initially from it. So I got excited for the War Z, and as I saw more and more of the game, I got less and less excited because this game was slated to come out in December, and it just did not look good. And the screenshots, now that we actually have footage to compare them to, are another piece of the false advertising, because the graphics don't even look half as good as in the screenshots. They don't even look as a quarter of the good as in the screenshots. So I just have to wonder where the hell they got those screenshots from. I'm just saying, where the fuck did they get those from? Because the game doesn't look even a quarter as good as those screenshots. But back to the main game. So on December 17th, 2012, Hammerpoint Interactive launched a foundation release of the game on Valve's Steam, and they basically said that we've reached a point in the development of the game where we feel comfortable to release it to people. And they listed a bunch of features like a 100 to 400 kilometer sized map, PvE, PvP servers, like there are no classes, no levels. You just level up. That's the idea, what I got. You don't have to pay money to get good gear. You can basically find all the good gear without paying a dime. And the game made all these promises on its features page on Steam. The controversy happened, firstly. What turned me off initially was when I heard that you had to pay like between $13 or $15 to actually play the game. So that threw me off. However, once you pay those $15, you get into the game, and then the game is structured as in a free-to-play model, where it's basically financed through microtransactions. Like when you make your character, you can basically pay the developers $20 and get 10,000 gold points in-game that let you buy special gear, special weapons when you spawn your character. The problem is, if you spend these $20 and you spawn in the game, and the game is completely broken, other players will spawn right on top of each other. Like, one spawn area can spawn like 7 other players with you, and because the graphics engine is a piece of shit, all other players will just look like floating backpacks, and some noob can just beat you over the head a couple of times with a flashlight, kill you, and take your gear. The problem is, if you've paid $20 to get that gear, you lose it. You basically spent $20 on jack shit. And you have to spend another $20 if you want to get that same gear back. This is a huge problem. It's one of the main reasons why the game has gotten such a backlash as it is. Because pay $20, some random shit hacker or by accident kills you, and then you just spend 20 of your dollars on nothing. That was one of the big things about the game. There is no way to get that loot that you just lost. But most of the controversy came because the features in the game were flat out lying to you. One of the first features was a 100 to 400 kilometer map. The map is barely over 100 kilometers, and later on they said, oh, well, it's over 100 kilometers, so we're not technically lying. And what else? Basically, experience is pointless. The experience system is pointless. It doesn't factor into the game at all. Like, that whole system about gathering experience hasn't even been implemented. There are it said PvE and PvP servers. PvE servers, I think PvE servers don't exist. There are only PvP ones, but since it wouldn't make a lick of difference because players just go around killing each other, like in DayZ, there's absolutely no penalty for killing anybody else. And I don't know all the features right now because it would take me a while to comment on it all. But you get the basic idea. The developers lied about a lot of stuff. They stated a lot of features that were in the game when they clearly weren't. And then they tried to make all these sorts of bullshit excuses where they said, well, online games are constantly evolving. Like, an online game is not finished its development until the day its server shut down and the game is dead. While I can see some truth in that online games are never really done, first of all, I have to say, I have to cry foul on your statement because you listed a lot of features on the release of the game. These were not features that they said would be implemented later on. These are features that were stated to be finished on the release day with the full fucking game, and they weren't. Half the features weren't even in the game, and they tried to, they basically tried to twist our words to fit their own benefit and stuff, but Steam caught on. They basically removed the game off of Steam 2 days later, and they gave everyone full refunds, no issues at all. You just basically call Steam, tell them, I got robbed on the War Z, and they would give you a full refund of all your money back. So, after a backlash like this, where a developer has clearly falsely advertised its game, and just to let you dumbasses know who are still going to defend the game, false advertising is a crime. It's a crime in almost every civilized country that I know of. And these guys should all go to prison and face federal charges for falsely advertising a game that was clearly not finished. Now, if these guys basically did these two things, I don't think people would have complained that much. First of all, say it's an alpha. I have seen the footage from the game. The game looks horrible. It looks completely unfinished, and just by seeing that half the Steam features listed on the Steam page weren't in the game was clearly barely in an alpha state, and it was clearly rushed out the door just so that the developers can make a few quick bucks off of gamers. And second of all, even if they did list the game as an alpha, if you're going to make a free-to-play model, no, actually I'm going to rephrase that. If you're going to list the game as an alpha, then you have no right to ask me to pay you $15 up front, especially if you already have a free-to-play model implemented. You cannot ask me to pay a game $15 and then get more money out of me later on through microtransactions, especially since I already told you guys that microtransactions in this game are complete bullshit. They rob you dry. You will lose so much money. And I've talked to a lot of people who have invested their real money in this game, and they basically just get screwed over like instantly when they spawn by some hacker or some random asshole who beats them over the head with a flashlight. I've heard so many people complain about this. So pick your model. You want to be free to play? Okay. You want to ask only $15? Ask only $15. And if you really want to make more money consistently throughout the game's release, then make like a $10 or $15 subscription fee for every month, okay? Make it like that, but you cannot do some dual thing that pretty much just rips off the gamer even more than you're already going to rip him off with the microtransactions. However, now that I've given you a short history lesson on why this game is bullshit and why the developers should go to prison for robbing a lot of people. This game was the second best-selling game on Steam on the 2 days that it was released, and I think hundreds of thousands of players have actually gotten their hands on it. And what else? Actually, I'm not done. I'm not done with my rant about the game. I'm gonna get to the supporters later, but I've heard a lot of foul play from both the developers and from the players inside the game. First of all, I hear the developers blacklisting people on the forums that complained about the game's quality. Basically, what that means is, first of all, to let you know, I'm no expert on credit. I'm 17 years old. I've never had a credit card in my life. But basically, what blacklisting your credit card means is they blacklist you, and then when you try to order something from, let's say, eBay or Amazon or Best Buy, the guys working at Amazon or Best Buy are not going to sell it to you because you got your credit card blacklisted as someone who's, lying about, being robbed in the game and asking for a refund. So that means because of the developers being assholes, you won't be able to buy stuff from Best Buy, Amazon, or eBay because they'll blacklist your credit card. That's an issue. Another issue is them intentionally banning players who actually voice concerns about the game, who actually try to, say, how about you implement this to improve the game? How about you implement this? And I see them, and I've heard numerous accounts of them actually going after these players, purposefully banning them and stuff. And the hacking issue was so bad that they actually banned players on purpose so that hackers will stop murdering people constantly and, basically making people quit the game and asking for more refunds off of Steam. And I've heard a lot of these stories. I bet all of it is true, because if these guys have the balls to get away with something like this, to actually try to rob gamers and successfully doing so on a large scale, then I wouldn't put it past these douchebags to try and rob you even more just for the sake of making a little extra money. Alright, now that I've covered that very quickly, I hope I wasn't too confusing. I know I can say a few things a little weird, but English is my primary language. But back to the main focus of my rant. My rant is to the people who defend this game. Now, whether or not this game is fun or not, I cannot say, because I haven't played the game. But however, I do not want to give these people my money because of their practices. And they've been called out on it numerous times, so I'm not even going to consider buying this game. Whether it's fun or not, that's debatable, because you can pretty much have fun with anything. Like, if Arex and or Justin played a game with me, even if it was the worst piece of shit ever made, ever, I could still enjoy it, because I would have a friend there with me to basically help me make fun of the game and help me push through it, but that doesn't make the game any better. That still means it's a bad game. You just have someone else there to suffer it through with you. And from what I see, the game is really, really, really boring. Among all its issues, it looks like a really, really boring game. And I hate the supporters, specifically for this title, because they intentionally go after any guy who says that the developers robbed gamers, that they're criminals, that this game should be canceled, should be taken off the net and stuff, and they're just like, oh well, the game's fun and you're just a DayZ fanboy. Like, what the hell do you know? What happened to gamers? Like, I know it's the internet, and the anonymity of the internet lets you basically say and do whatever the hell you want. But what happened to gamers looking out for each other? Like, we gamers all collectively should be against this game and the developers. We should be calling out these guys for what they are, for being robbing douchebag liars and criminals, and make them pay for robbing hundreds of thousands of people who just wanted to have some open world zombie fun. And instead, I see hundreds of thousands of people on YouTube and on countless other forums just attacking anyone who voices anything against the game, calling them fanboys, faggots, douchebags, assholes, all of these things. And basically, trying to defend these developers and this particular game. What the fuck is wrong with you? How can you defend the actions by these developers? I don't get it. I really don't get it. And first of all, when trying to change someone's opinion on something is practically impossible unless you have a mature discussion where you actually say what you want to say in a mature and well thought out way. Then you might be able to change someone's opinion on something. But since this is the internet and the chances of you having a mature discussion on the internet are slim to none, you're never gonna accomplish your task. So how about you just respect other people's opinion and fuck off, basically. And that might seem a bit contradictory, me saying, well, how can you like this game because of the practices of the developers? Because personally, I don't think criminals should be defended at all. They did a crime, they should face charges and go to jail. They should pay for their crime, and I think defending them is completely stupid. But most gamers don't see it that way. They just say, oh, the game's fun, so I'm, basically gonna go out on the internet world and attack anyone who tries to differ his opinion from mine, who doesn't agree with me. So yeah, I know this was kind of a general rant on the Warzy instead of its supporters, but hey, I just had to say it. I really don't know what's happened to gamers. They don't look out for each other anymore. It's all just calling each other faggot, jerk, asshole online now. There is no sense of camaraderie, and the very fact that some of you supporters of the Warzy are actually defending criminals makes me sick to my stomach. You're probably just 5-year-old idiots whose parents are too busy sucking each other off to notice you being online. So how about you go play on your Kinect box and let us, real gamers, who are mature enough to make our own opinions on stuff, worry about matters like this, and you go fuck yourselves. That's basically what I think about you supporters. So yeah, whether you agree with me or not, I don't care. You got your opinion. But if you're a Warzy supporter, you deserve a painful kick in the balls, and I hope you die a slow and painful death. And so those are basically my thoughts on the Warzy and its supporters. Thanks for listening, guys. I hope I entertained you with my rant, and I'm out.